What's crappening? Welcome to Under the Foreskin, a show dedicated to the happenings of the SJU and Misfits Fantasy Football League. My name is Kyle. I'm the head of football operations for the Potomac Pretenders, the voice of Under the Foreskin. And here today with me in the Under the Foreskin studios, a very, very special guest, one of my best buds in the world, a very strong fantasy player in his own right, owner of the Baton Rouge Border Collies, former Bakersfield Border Collies, Jason Johannes in the house today. Jason, why don't you say hi?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
All right, so we got the fifth week of Under the Foreskin today. We're going to go over what happened in week 4. We'll talk about waiver wire Wednesday as there were no trades this week. What a surprise in SJU and Misfits. And, of course, we will do week 5 pick'em as both Jason and I break down the games. So let's get it rolling. Before we do the week 4 wrap-up, let's first talk about the playoff standings. Currently, if the season ended today, the Sausage Waltz would be in first place, 4-0, followed by the Pretenders also at 4-0. Crapstone Prairie Dogs leads the 3-1 teams, followed by Baton Rouge and Gnawbone. Chernobyl Tin Whiskers on top of the 2-2 teams, followed by the Smugglers, Flint Tropics, Hollywood Hotties, and that's it. Tallahassee Trouser Snakes at 1-3 lead the batch of Duluth Draft Dodgers and Poughkeepsie Pandas. 0-4 are the Buffalo Armadillos and the Waco Wrinkle Beasts.
Interesting, Kyle. It's really interesting. If you look at the standings, if the playoffs started today, the Tallahassee Trouser Snakes with 400 points would slip into the 7th spot, and they would knock out the Sioux City Smugglers, and the Duluth Draft Dodgers wouldn't be dodging the playoffs this year. They'd be sneaking in at the 8th spot and moving Flint down to the 10th spot.
So it'll be interesting as the weeks go on. I will once again reiterate our rule in case anyone not in the league is listening. The top 6 teams make the playoffs based on record. So if you're in the top 6 with record, you're in. The 7th and 8th seed are reserved for the team with the most points scored outside of the top 6 records. So as Jason said, the Trouser Snakes and the Dodgers would both be in the playoffs, as the Tropics and the Hotties, although they have better records, have less total points scored, and they would be out. So with that, let's move on to week 4 matchups. First up, Potomac Pretenders traveled to Buffalo to take on the 0-3 Armadillos. Make them 0-4. Some teams are just better than others, the headline reads. 118-93, the Potomac Pretenders defeat the Dillos to move to 4-0. I called it last week. Torrey Smith, I said, who wants to bet? 20 points, he scores at least. He came through for me, 23. KCD with 22, Jamal Charles with 18. Couldn't feel better about Jamal Charles, and no, he's not for sale. For the Buffalo Armadillos, I was a little nervous about Monday night, and rightfully so. Darren Sproles went nuts. Marcus Colson had a solid game. They combined for 35 points, Unfortunately, he was down by 60 and was going to need a lot more than 35 points to get the job done. The Sioux City Smugglers fall to 2-2 as they lose to the Crapstone Prairie Dogs. Crapstone, first week of byes, didn't have Randall Cobb on the field, but it didn't matter. DeAndre Hopkins stood fine in his place, and Jared Cook filled in for the on-bye and also injured Jermichael Finley. They were really the only misfires this week for the Crapstone Prairie Dogs, but it didn't matter because 7 players were in double digits. 117 points beat the Sioux City Smugglers 94, who had really only one player who had a great game, Reggie Bush. Tom Brady finally got off the porcelain throne and scored over 20 points. Been a tough start to the season for him this year. The Smugglers now to 2-2, Crapstone to 3-1. Let's see. Polish Sausage Waltz took on Duluth Draft Dodgers. Headline reads, Sausage Waltz dodge Dodgers Monday Night Football charge. I think the Dodgers had the kicker and the defense on Monday night, but needed a really, really unbelievable game out of both. They didn't get that. For the Sausage Waltz, Tony Gonzalez, Sunday Night Football, 27 points. Followed up that with 7 players total in double figures. Nice week for the Sausage Waltz. They've been pretty steady out of the gate. Kicker, the only sore spot for the Wallets, 3 points out of Dan Bailey. Tough to predict kickers, so pretty solid roster other than that. For the Dodgers, the day that could have been, Foster 23 points, New Orleans D 16 points. Unfortunately, Dallas Clark, Santana Moss, only 3 points together. Tough to have that kind of hole in your bench and beat a team as good as the Polish Sausage Waltz. Chernobyl Tin Whiskers drown the Tallahassee Trouser Snakes 84-75. Tin Whiskers to 2-2, Trouser Snakes to 1-3. Peyton Manning 29 points. Le'Veon Bell and his Chernobyl Tin Whisker debut, scores 19 points against the Minnesota Vikings in London. Unfortunately for the Tin Whiskers, Daryl Richardson, Rashard Mendenhall, Golden Tate all continue to struggle 1 point each this week. You is right, Jason. Tallahassee Trouser Snakes, that big shootout we all expected in Denver between the Eagles and the Broncos did not happen. Well, it happened for the Broncos, but it didn't happen for the Eagles. 16 points between Deshaun and Michael Vick. Not enough for the Trouser Snakes. Newcomer Frank Gore, 20 points this week. Very nice. Also newcomer Ray Rice, 5 carries, 1 point. Inexplicable 5 carries for a guy who they say was healthy, just the coach had a shoe up his ass and gave him 5 carries. It's just an ugly, ugly week in Baltimore, unless, of course, he had Torrey Smith. Gnawbone Butte Pirates took on the Waco Wrinklebees. Headline reads, Gnawbone cruises by the Wrinklebees. 88-76 behind, 23 points from Victor Cruz. Freddie Jackson, the best of the Bills running backs, scores 14 this week. Boy, Big Dick Janikowski, 2 points again this week. When do you jump off the Big Dick Janikowski bus? He is just riding it till the bitter end. I think you could pick up, I don't even know a kicker on the waiver wire, but you could pick up any of them and they'd be better than that clown. Flaccid Dick, he's done, Jason says. For the Wrinkle Beast, pretty similar story to most weeks. Drew Brees, 33 points. David Akers, 18 points. And then from wide receiver 1 to tight end, wide receiver 1, 2 points. Wide receiver 2, 1 point. Running back 1, 2 points. Running back 2, 2 points. Tight end 1, 0 points. Tough week for the Wrinkle Beast. The woes continue in Waco. I've said it before, Joel. I have a very similar team in another league. I'm also 0-4. I also have the least points in the league. And I'm considering just dropping a bomb on my stadium because it's ugly. Baton Rouge Border Collies, 115 points, big score this week. Take on the Flint Tropics, who put up 91. Headline reads, Bark and bite big in Baton Rouge as they rout the Flint Tropics. Matty Ice, Antonio Gates, Seattle, all over 20 points this week. Matt Forte and Trent Richardson look like a solid 1-2 punch with 17 and 12 points respectively. Only negative was Stevie Johnson with 0 points this week. For the Tropics, 91 points. Not a bad showing for the Flint Tropics. Denver D and Dez, all 20-plus points. Unfortunately, Ben Tate, Roddy White, Run DMC, all scored 1 point. Very, very tough to have any success out of that. Next, the Poughkeepsie Pandas roll to, 1-3, not 2-2. I have 2-2 written down. They're 1-3. They beat the Hotties this week, 3-1. Headline reads, 1 TD, not enough as Hotties get smoked by the winless Pandas. For the Hotties, man, I just wrote my notes down all wrong here. 1 TD in 63 points. It was only 1 went to Reggie Wayne. Demarius Thomas, Jimmy Graham, and Tennessee D all had 20-plus points for the Pandas in a nice week where CJ Spiller continued to struggle. What will the Pandas do? Waiver Wire Wednesday this week. Roy Halou, $35. He's on bye this week. Hotties picked him up. Not an owner of Alfred Morris, might I add, either. Hotties spending their money on some more average players. Maybe average. Probably not even average. LeGarrette Blunt goes for $21 to the Gnawbone Butte Pirates. Zach clearly enamored with 1 run. Way to go, Zach. Good thinking there. And Rashard Jennings, 18 points to the Poughkeepsie, or $18 to the Poughkeepsie Pandas. Probably my favorite pickup of the week. You know he's going to get some time, and he even cracked the Pandas starting lineups in week 5. Jason, any thoughts on those waiver wires?
Besides the Rashad Jennings pickup, it's pretty nonchalant picks there. Nothing to get excited about. Rashad at least will crack the lineup for Tyler and hopefully answer his running back woes.
Absolutely, right there with you. So week 5 pick'em, here we go. First on the board, the Poughkeepsie Pandas take on the Tallahassee Trouser Snakes. Jonas, I'll let you lead this one off.
Oh man, I'm excited about this one. I got Trouser Snakes. I got Vic and Deshaun versus the Giants. You gotta love that matchup. That's Dave's 2-headed snake right there. And then you're going against Tyler's poor man 3-headed monster with CJ, CJ2K, and RJ. I do like Demarius and Jimmy Graham. Who doesn't? But I think I'm gonna go Trouser Snakes, wiggling their way to 2-3.
Ooh, I like it. Wiggle their way to 2-3. Brilliant. Yeah, a lot of J's in the running back core in Poughkeepsie. Unfortunately, I don't see any of them being really successful. The Poughkeepsie Pandas have the Oakland Raider backfield, in their grasp. Terrell Pryor and Rashard Jennings both get the start. I guess if I had to have a backfield, I don't know, that would be the one. Tough matchups for Chris Johnson and Dwayne Bowe this week. Dwayne Bowe caught a touchdown last week. Probably means he won't catch a touchdown for another 2 games. So I also am going Trouser Snakes. Love Vic and Djax. And Frank Gore at Houston and Ray Rice at Miami. Pretty tough matchups, but those solid players seem to come through in tough times, so we will see how they do. I like the Snakes, though. Hollywood Hotties take on the Buffalo Armadillos, 2-2 versus 0-4. The Dillos can't go 0-5, right?
I don't think so.
This has to be the last chance for Stephen Ridley on the Buffalo Armadillos. And on the other side of the ball, it has to be the last chance for David Wilson for the Hollywood Hotties. I guess I like Ridley better in that. I'm going Dillos. How about you?
I'm going Dillos as well. I'm not looking at the matchups at all. Jack's going to go. He's going to get off the schneid here and win a game and go 1-4. I love both guys, and I think it's going to be a good match for sure. I think it'll be lower scoring, but I think Buffalo's going to come out on top.
Right there with you. Your team, the Baton Rouge Border Collies, favored heavily over the Waco Wrinkle Beasts. You do have some tough matchups this week. I saw the Jets they're playing against the Browns. One of your running backs playing against Seattle is on your lineup a couple times. Boy, it's a week. In any other week, I might have you losing, but you're playing Waco, and although he's 0-4, and I love Joel, I just I have that team in another league, like I said, and I know how hard it is to put a starting lineup out there every week. How many points will Drew Brees score? It really is the Baton Rouge Border Collies versus Drew Brees. I don't know. I'm going Border Collies. I can't pick Waco in this. Sorry, Joel.
Yeah, I'm feeling lucky this week playing Waco. I have some very tough matchups. I think my team won't score more than 75 points, but man, can I say fuck? Because it fucking stinks in Waco right now. And it smells like Sidney Rice. It smells like Kendall Wright. Jason Snelling, if Jason is his first name, I don't even know if that's his name. Jason. Monty Ball, and Marlon Brown's been okay, so I'll keep him out of the sinkhole. But I mean, they got a Hormel factory or some sort of paper mill there because it fucking reeks.
They should be the Thunder Bay Wrinkle Beast. I mean, it's a stinky town in Waco right now.
It's bad. Albert Lee Wrinkle Beast.
Chernobyl Tin Whiskers, they head to Poland to play the Sausage Wallets, and they are favorites, 95-90. Jace, why don't you lead this one off?
Oh man, this is a tough one. I struggled with this one, but I got the Tin Wankers upsetting the Wallets this week. Peyton Manning has just been too good. I will throw a side bet out there, so anybody text me if you're interested. I'm going to say Peyton Manning throws 1 interception this week. $5, any takers. Peyton Manning will throw an interception at some point in the season. But I like the Tin Wankers this week. I think Jordy will have a nice day. Seth with no RG3 and Schwab against San Francisco. Depends how Schwab plays. It could get a little dicey. McCoy will have a pretty big day, but I'm going to go Tin Wankers.
I respect that pick, and it is going to be a close game, I feel like. I don't love Alshon Jeffrey in the starting lineup. I don't love Daryl Richardson in the starting lineup. I don't like Mendenhall in the starting lineup. Frankly, I don't like a lot about the Tin Wankers team, and with Le'Veon Bell on bye this week, there's not a lot of players available in that flex spot. And for the Sausage Wallets, I think McCoy is right there with Jamal Charles behind AP as kind of the top 3 backs. And he's been so solid. He's playing the Giants, who have obviously been struggling. I think the Sausage Wallets ride on the back of LaShawn McCoy this week and defeat the Chernobyl Tin Whiskers to stay undefeated. I guess, well, now I'm looking at projections. It says 91-91, but 20 minutes ago when we did these notes, it was 95-90. So I don't know. Yahoo's up to their usual tomfoolery. Crapstone Prairie Dogs take on the Gnawbone Butte Pirates, and they're favored 91-83 according to Yahoo projections. Adrian Peterson on bye this week. Tough not to have the number 1 running back in your spot. Fortunately, the No-Sean Moreno wild card from the Denver backfield seemed to hit the jackpot at least every once in a while, so he cracked the starting lineup as a running back too. And he's got Marshawn Lynch there too. Just a solid team in Crapstone. Lynch and Moreno are the 2 starting running backs in Crapstone. Butte Pirates with Alfred on bye, Alfred Morris. MJD and McGahee are the starting running backs. I'll take Lynch and Moreno every time in that bet. Freddie Jackson plays Cleveland. Cleveland's been tough against the run this year. You know, it's not probably going to be a super exciting matchup there in Crapstone, but I like the Prairie Dogs to win this one.
I got Crapstone as well. It's hard to argue with the big four that Dunn's putting out there this week. Rogers, Cobb, Calvin Johnson, they're playing each other. I think that'll be a pretty high-scoring match. You got Lynch going, which I like better than MJD and McGahee at this point. MJD is struggling. I do like some of the wide receiver matchups Butte Pirates have, but if there's something that I don't like about Crapstone's lineup, it's the 2 tight end set, but it looks like he's got some bye week issues, so I'm going to go Crapstone.
Going Crapstone. All right, last matchup of the week, my Potomac Pretenders. I don't know if I've said, but they're 4-0. They play the Flint Tropics at 2-2. I don't love any of my matchups, to be honest. Any other week, I'd probably pick the other team. Actually, that's not true. I'd pick myself because I always do. Good players with bad matchups usually beat bad players with bad matchups. I'm going Potomac Pretenders this week to move to 5-0 and stay on top of the league with the Polish Sausage Wallets. Your thoughts?
I'm going to agree with you, Kyle. I got your Pretenders in a landslide this week. It kills me to say that. But yeah, I like your team in terms of matchups pretty much at every position except for quarterback. I think Run DMC injured is going to hurt the Flint Tropics a lot. Green Ellis and Ben Tate, it's not very good. I mean, if I had to compare Ben Tate to an athlete, I would compare him to Jackie Moon, which belongs in Flint. So, Potomac Pretenders in a landslide.
With that, thank you very much for listening to Under the Foreskin Week 5. As always, follow us on Twitter at SJU Misfits and on YouTube, youtube.com/SJU and Misfits. Until next week, good luck out there on the gridiron.